Welcome back to Quick Wins for ADHD Moms. My name is Jessica Lynn Lewis, and I'm an ADHD mom with ADHD kids. So chances are there's a lot of things in our lives that we kind of share this chaos, right? And so the reason why I started this podcast is there's little wins that we can do every day that just might make your life a little bit easier. Well, today on the show, I'm very excited to have a special guest, Marnie Lee Wills. She's a multi-business founder, AI strategist, and mom who transforms chaos into clarity. Once a self-proclaimed tech avoider, she discovered AI in early 2023 and built custom systems to manage her businesses, team communications, meal planning, and family schedules. Marnie specializes in creating second brains that reduce mental load and support creative, scattered minds, proving that AI can be a game changer for overstimulated, under-supported entrepreneurs and us ADHD moms trying to juggle it all. So here is today's interview with Marnie. Well, Marnie, thank you so much for being on Quick Wins for ADHD Moms. I'm so excited to have you.
It's awesome to be here. Thank you, Jessica.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive into your quick win, something an ADHD mom can just implement right away.
Sure. So I would love to encourage everybody to stop using Google and start using Gemini instead. So you just download the app Gemini and have a conversation with Gemini every day. Start to understand how artificial intelligence can help you in life by either brain dumping or asking random questions. An example was on the way to school drop-off the other day, and my daughters had questions about why the moon was still shining in the morning. And of course, my brain was already overloaded with trying to get out of the house and, so many things going on. And once I drop the kids off, I've got to be here and I've got to be there. Then I was like, I don't know. And then I thought, I should know. And then I thought, well, I can't, just leave it at that. So I was like, well, let's ask Gemini. So I jumped on and put on the voice mode for Google Gemini and just said, I have my two daughters here, and I gave Gemini the age, and they asked their question. And yeah, we try to have a Gemini chats once or twice a week, and I try to chat to Gemini once a day. I know it might sound a bit weird for some people, but it is a great way for me to brain dump and learn actually, how to use artificial intelligence, which is the new digital transformation that we're in.
Absolutely. And I love how you are showing your daughters how that works too. You're bringing them into the process and you're doing this together. And they're growing up in such a fascinating age where they're going to be implementing AI at all different parts of their lives, whereas we are like, how do we use this? How can we use it? And so you've been doing this for a few years now, and you actually help people one-on-one implement how to use AI with their ADHD brain and the chaos. I love that you said you help people go from chaos to calm.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely what we need and what we want. And so can you lean in on, more of what it looks like to work with you and your process, and maybe a story of how someone just implemented that and how it's changed their life?
Yeah. So I think probably the first place I always start is we create your own personal assistant with an AI model of your choice. Lots of people use ChatGPT, obviously. Some people who, have a Google workspace, potentially. We often try and stay on Google. Some people have like a Microsoft. I don't always encourage on Copilot because they're mainly linked to business accounts. But other people will use another really amazing tool is called Perplexity AI. So that's my favorite go-to. Yeah. So I start with, let's create you a personal assistant. Let's create a brain. So I call it a second brain for the AI. If you had your best friend beside you, your biggest cheerleader, your personal assistant / executive assistant / virtual assistant, whatever you could get your hands on to help you, what knowledge do you need them to know? What do you need to know about your schedules, your children's schedules, all the school emails that come in? What about any holidays you potentially have coming up or want to have coming up? What about any of your regular recipes or shopping lists? Or, I just call it a PA, give your AI PA a second brain about anything and everything, and then give it some context and say, and this context is in custom instructions. And you say you're an expert, a personal assistant for me and my family. You help me stay ahead of everything that I've got coming up, but you also allow me to brain dump and get my thoughts out. Often, I always put often random, but very linked. And it's your job to work it out. And of course, I use AI to help me with those instructions. But every day I'm checking in with my PA 2-3 times a week. Sometimes I won't even read emails because I don't know about you, but I have no eye for detail. So I'll get an email come through. It will be like quite long, maybe from the school. And I'm like, I can't read that. It's normally on a Friday afternoon. I get school emails on a Friday afternoon. I think my brain has stopped working. I have to wait until I've had my morning coffee on a Saturday and my brain has stopped that I go, okay, let's catch up. It's so random how they come at random times. Anyway, I don't even read the emails now. I just copy and paste, put them straight into my PA. I've got it on Perplexity, but I also have an automation set up from my email to Perplexity. So I don't always have to copy and paste. Yeah.
So that's what you help people too, is save time. So it just automates the process.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I'll just check in 3 times a day with my PA about what's come in, what's going on, what I need to action. And I'll often have a brain dump as well. Because if you look at my notepad, there's no structure to it. It's one to-do list here, one to-do list there. They all link somehow. And my brain is just, it feels like it's constant chaos until, honestly, I leveraged artificial intelligence to help me with that. It became a collaborative partner. It became a strategic thinking partner. And since then, I've gone on and helped others do that in life and business. And
Because you've walked that path, you know what it's like, and you have figured out what works for you and what doesn't in the different platforms. There's a lot of different AI platforms. You say you use Perplexity. Have you tried the different ones, and why is it that you landed on Perplexity?
I think like everybody, I started with ChatGPT. I actually use ChatGPT to, this is a bit of my story. I use ChatGPT to change my business model. So I have a franchise model. I was a franchisor and I was looking for franchisees, and it was tough. It was a tough market. And I just didn't love the way the model was. And I just thought there's got to be a better way to do this. So worked with ChatGPT over a couple of weeks. And then come up with a new business model. So now I sell business partnerships. People co-found a region with me. So instead of selling the whole part of the business and trying to find somebody that's, as motivated and dedicated for me as me, so that, there's enough royalties in there, I'm like, all right, let's co-found it together. That accountability is there. So yeah, I use ChatGPT to do that, which is amazing. I use Claude a lot. I do love Claude. Absolutely brilliant at writing. So good at strategic thinking. And you can really go back and forth, I think, with Claude, to even if you think that, it's just a little bit of an idea, but I don't really know what that's going to equate to. So an example of that was I do quite a lot of networking, and I was like, there's got to be a way to enrich the connection you have with someone, right? Like, instead of like, how's the weather? Or, how many children do you have? I don't know, just get past that surface level stuff. Yeah. It's like, there's got to be a way. There's got to be like some set of questions that dig deep. And, it was just a bit of an idea with Claude. And then, quite a few conversations later, Claude and I collaborated, and now I have a strategic, it's called an strategic insight networking tool that I, upsell to networking things. So, it's such a good tool to take just a thought or an idea, or when you've got those little ideas, but you can't see the end. You don't know what it's going to look like at the end, but it's such a good idea. So Claude's amazing at that. And then Gemini, as I've already mentioned, we use Gemini a lot. My 8-year-old loves Gemini. We build little apps on Gemini. We have fun with the image tool, Nano Banana. We put ourselves on a beach. We're going to Dubai at Christmas. So we took a selfie in the bedroom, and then put ourselves on the beach. And it was really fun. And then my other go-to is Perplexity, like I said. So, yeah.
Yeah, so they all have just a little bit of a different would personality. I don't know if you can see a personality
Yeah.
with an AI, kind of flavor to each. Like Claude is a better writer, maybe, um,
Yeah, but I think the great thing
or
about
maybe
generative AI is you can customize. So again, the more information you give it, the more instructions you give and context, the better it's going to perform. And they're getting better, like even 3 months ago to what they can do now is amazing. And
it
just
is.
earlier last week, ChatGPT 5.1 was released and it's already, hens over 5, which was only released like 3 months ago or something. So they're
Yeah.
forever improving. And I said this in a talk I did earlier on today that I think we're honestly at the stage, AI is at the stage of what when we had the first iPhone, so like iPhone 3 roughly, right? And iPhone 18 is about to be released. So that's how far the iPhone technology's come. But because AI is like quadrupling every 3 months roughly,
Mhm.
the timeline that goes from, the 3 point to the 18 is going to be so much shorter. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think the capabilities are just exploding constantly. And the ability for us, I don't know, as humans to just often feel superhuman when I'm using any AI tool. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
which one it is, ChatGPT. Um, I feel superhuman sometimes. I really honestly feel like it amplifies my intelligence. And I think going through school, having an undiagnosed ADHD, I definitely felt different and I definitely felt
Mhm.
dumb. I just didn't learn the way other people learn. And I honestly thought I was dumb. And then, fast forward, became quite good at sport, became a PE teacher, kind of even didn't feel super academic, being a teacher either. And then start your own business. And then all of a sudden, you've got to do everything. And then
Pieces are all over the
ah,
place,
gosh.
and yet
And
you
then having,
thrive.
yeah, and then having children, and then, now juggling it all. And there's definitely times where I'd be like, I can't do it all. I can't do it all. And then now I feel like, you know, I don't want to overwhelm anyone, but I have 28 AI assistants that help me. And I have quite a few agents, automation set up. And, but I am further on my journey than many people. So I understand that.
Sure.
But I honestly, yeah, using AI has changed my life in so many ways.
That's beautiful. And I think, looking back at school, when everything it's this, and then this builds on this, and then this builds on this, and this builds, or, maybe it builds this way. But with our brains, we see things over here, and we see this over here, and we make all of these real world connections. And with AI, it's still kind of learning things, but we're able to say, what about this and this and this? And like smash it all together. And AI is like, oh, yeah, I can see how that's all related. And here's how.
Yeah.
And you're like, I knew it. I
Yeah.
knew that was. Yeah.
So
And
true.
so I just think it's a fascinating time, really, for those of us with ADHD brains, because we're already understanding how AI is working. And um, I know that a lot of people are ready to implement that into their life. A question, though, I know a lot of people are still like, AI, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous about using it. So, what would you say to someone who is just not quite sure if they should be using it or not?
I'm probably going to sound a bit brutal, so I'm going to say with love, AI is not going anywhere. Um, my children are 4 and 8, and they are going to get through secondary education, university, and life, and they won't know a life without AI. Just like the generation before didn't know a life without social media, and the generation of the 2000s, they didn't know a life without the internet. Um, you know, my generation, I didn't know a life without, I don't know, 20th century cars, with, like that it is. We're in a digital transformation. Everybody, all generations have been through it, from horses to cars, from hand picking labor to using manufacturing, from white pages and yellow pages to the internet, from the dial up phone to the smartphone. Like the
Mhm.
reality is that we are in a world where we now all have access to generative AI. It is changing the world in many, many, many ways, not just in business, but in life. We will all have robots within 5 years' time. We'll have robots within the house.
Mm-hmm.
Within 5 years' time, we'll have driverless cars. Within 5 years' time, we'll have AI agents that are able to do our shopping online. They'll be able to make appointments for us. They'll, I don't know, maybe even ring your mother-in-law and say happy birthday, right? Like we'll get to a
In
point
your
where,
voice.
yeah, in my voice, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get to a point where, we artificial intelligence will be the way of life. Now, that I'm not sitting here and saying it's all going to be amazing, because
Right.
the reality is with any technology, there are pros and cons. I mean, I can't remember the exact years, but it was 20 something years before the cars had seatbelts and people stopped dying from car accidents. That is just an example. If we look at social media, there are so many pros, but there are so many cons related to social media. And, so pros and cons of everything. My opinion is it's not going anywhere. Learn how to use it, enjoy using it, become an ethical user of AI. And for me, that is a few things. Number one is know the security risks related to AI. The second thing is remember that we are part of human history in which we're training AI. So generative AI developed through the knowledge that humans had initially. And at the moment, unfortunately, there are not enough people adding in what I call their domain expertise, their knowledge, their experience, and their perspective on something as a human. And because we're not adding that in when using an AI, the AI is writing AI content and training on that AI content. So we're starting to dilute our human implementation and adding in, again, our domain expertise. And I don't know about you, but I really don't want my 4-year-old getting to university and learning off an AI without any human element in it. So I do think that we should use it ethically as parents, as leaders in businesses, in anyone in the workforce. Learn to use AI by adding in your human expertise. And that often just comes with having a conversation with, like I said, Gemini or ChatGPT. Have a conversation, have the AI try and work out how you talk, how you respond, what you like, what you don't like. Let's keep training the AI models so that it can keep developing with us. And then my third thing is, unfortunately, I don't think it matters where you are in the world, but the education system is behind in many ways, especially when it comes to learning styles, especially with ADHD or learning difficulties or SEN. The education system can't catch up. It's very outdated, industrialized. That's what it built people for. So
For the 9 to 5, yeah,
100%.
the industrial worker.
Yeah, and there's going to be no 9 to 5, and give it 5-10 years. You don't need a 9 to 5 when you've got agents working for you 24/7. So we're going to have to change. I think the education system is going to be slow to catch up. So therefore, as leaders of your family, why not take your children along your journey? How are you using AI? Why are you using it the way you do it? And have your children think differently. Like my 8-year-old, again, she's very inquisitive, but she's built a learning language app. She's built herself a maths app. I mean, when I say app, all it is she's gone into, I think we use Claude for one, we use Claude for the maths one, and she creates something called an artifact, and she just goes in and she just says, I want to do arithmetic maths. I need 60 seconds worth of questions. I want it to be gamified, and it needs to be this level. Claude goes and creates it, and she just has a little play with it. Yeah, so you just say what you want.
All right, so I'm going to pause the episode right here because we ended up talking for 40 minutes. Marnie is such a wealth of information, and I hope you've enjoyed this conversation we've had this far, and we're going to release the rest of that next week. Well, I know sometimes life can be kind of chaotic, right? And so that's why I created this, is so we have some kind of simple resets to reduce all of the overwhelm that we experience every day. It's already hard being a mom, but a mom with ADHD brain just takes it to the next 10 levels, right? So if you go to the ADHDmom.com, I've created something for you. It's just called the 4-Minute Reset. It's a free 4-minute audio file that just helps you breathe, clear the mental noise, and find your next small step. So if you feel like you're just caught, you're stuck, it's a really great way to just take that 4 minutes to reset your brain, And hopefully by the end of that 4 minutes, you've got a little motivation. Well, maybe not motivation, but an idea of where you need to go next, just to keep yourself moving forward. Again, you can find that at theadhdmom.com and download that 4-minute reset. Well, I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.